I'm Seth.
And I'm Drew.
And this is
Nerd Feeding the Nerd.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to World 5, Level 2. Seth is continuing his Mario questage, and I am here to run my mouth and try to keep y'all entertained.
I know, because I'm in the zone, because it's really hard to beat those guys. And that was a glitch. Did you see that? He became part of the terrain.
I did not, because I was looking at the camera.
He continued to throw hammers at me.
He's throwing hands. Yeah, man. I mean, well, that's kind of the good thing about these old games is the weird glitchiness, I don't know, just like the structure of it all. And and I like that. I do appreciate that. I do. We talked about this in our first episode, kind of like the usage of cheats and stuff. And I don't know, man, like I wasn't smart enough as a kid to know any of the cheats, which is why I sucked at games like this. But I always thought like jumping up like on that topmost level up at the top, like I thought that was cheating, which I mean, it is kind of, but not really.
What I think is missed on today's youth, insert What's Wrong with the Youth, Corey Feldman's greatest hit. Or is it called The Problem with the Youth? I don't know. Internet audit me. But here's what y'all missed. You never had to buy a copy of Nintendo Power to figure this crap out. Like, we had to buy a freaking magazine. You had to go to... mine was like Borders.
Okay.
Borders Books. And you would buy a copy of Nintendo Power, and you would be like... If you were lucky enough, like your parents saw the value, or at least let you buy that, gave you the lunch money for it, you were a god. Like, you knew all the stuff for these games.
See, I think you're looking at it the wrong way. Not that they don't have to. They don't get to, because Nintendo Power is long gone.
Oh, yeah.
And this year, Game Informer shut down, which Game Informer didn't have as much like secret stuff as Nintendo Power did, because Nintendo could do that. Game Informer was more about information on games that are coming out this year, things like that. And while I miss that it's gone, I had a subscription and I didn't read any of them the past year at least. So I think I'm a part of the problem.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the reality is this, much like a lot of things from times gone by, bygones, or whatever you call it, the good old days.
Sure. Get to the point.
I know. Sorry, I'm in the zone. I'm trying to be Bowser. Much like all that stuff, I mean, there is a modern day equivalent, which is the internet. Like, that's why they don't need a magazine. You just look it up. It's not, we didn't have that though. It was like, you got Nintendo Power, and then for games not Nintendo, like specific, you got the strategy guide, which I had for Mortal Kombat 2. And so I knew all the lethalities, all the babalities.
Yeah. Well, and that's cool. I had strategy guides
I'm
for
done with this guy. Oh, see, this is how you.
Exactly.
Yes.
I had all the strategy guides for Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time. Maybe for Majora's Mask. I don't think so. I think that was one that I really did stumble around in the dark on. And I think, here's the thing. I think I beat Majora's Mask because I didn't think that I did when I was a kid, but then I watched somebody play it on live and I saw the ending and I was like, wait, I've seen this before. So I think I did beat it. Now, I don't think I got all the masks, and I don't think I got all the letters, and I don't think I got the biggest wallet. But I will say, as a youngster, Majora's Mask was extremely frustrating for me. And now as an adult, I do want to revisit it because the time thing bothered me as a kid. I died so many times because I just let the timer run out, or I was stuck in a dungeon. Like, that was the worst, dude. When you're stuck in a dungeon and you're just like scrambling around, you don't know where you're going. Like, dude, it's the worst. It's terrible.
Let us know in the comments because I really want to play that game too. Should we play Majora's Mask?
Yeah, or
should we
Ocarina of Time.
prioritize? Oh,
It's like, that is Ocarina of Time. I will say this with my whole chest, is my favorite video game of all time. And if you look at the scores on Metacritic, it is scored as the best game ever with a 99 on Metacritic.
that's insane, dude.
It is insane. And
they don't even make games like that anymore. Like, no game. I mean, hate me if you want, but I don't think any modern game is going to ever get that kind of score.
I mean, I think that there's a possibility. But it will come from an indie studio, or it'll come from the spot where you least expect it. Because, I mean,
What?
I think that I know maybe people will yell at me on this one, but like the Astrobot game that just came out for PlayStation, or I guess it's been out for a little bit, it's pretty dang good, dude. Like, it's an enjoyable experience, and I enjoyed it even when it was like a little mini game that like taught you about your controller when you first got like the PlayStation 5. And it's just a cool experience. There's a lot of like nostalgia and references to, games gone by, and I appreciate that. So yeah, man. I mean, I think that that's something that studios, game developers need to stop being so run by a schedule and by marketing teams, and really just have enough time to make a game the best that they possibly can. But back to Ocarina of Time, I've seen a couple of videos on this where someone is taking Ocarina of Time and trying to remaster it through the Unreal Engine, and it is beautiful, dude. And I hope that it is not something that just disappears. I hope that is something that I can play, and maybe that's when we play Ocarina of Time. We do the Unreal Engine version, because it looks phenomenal. Like, the grass is amazing, the structure of the people. It's still them, but it's less polygony.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. I've seen a few screenshots of that. I do think that would be really, really fun.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what. This, I'm just getting up my street cred here. This, at least, if nothing else, reminds me of being a kid. I'm already getting some freaking blisties on my fingies. Like,
what are you using your classic controller?
I'm not. No,
Okay.
I know I'm a freaking hack. But
No.
I'll be honest. There's some connectivity issues with those controllers at times, and I thought, for the purposes of recording, it'd be cool if they made a wired version.
Yes.
That
well,
way...
yeah, because that feels the way that it should, and then you got to sit closer to the TV and you got to look up,
Yeah, sorry. I'm just gonna let it cycle. I'm down to 1 life, so that's great.
Yeah.
We're gonna create a second save slot.
Probably not a bad idea. I have a backup for your backup, just in case one breaks down.
Yeah, but yeah, so yeah, I'm using, but obviously it's like classic controller configuration because only 2 of the buttons are necessary to hit. It is an odd configuration on the Pro controller. You're using the top 2 buttons, but I'm cycling back and forth because if you remember in Mario, you have to hold down the kind of fire shoot button to run, and then you're gyrating over. You're gyrating over with kind of the joint of your finger, and it's creating a little
wiggle.
I know. This is really dumb. I'm sorry. This is the kind of crap you guys are gonna get though this is the sacrifice you have to make as an audience when you're getting 3 episodes a week. I mean, you get some stupid stuff like this, which is us playing the same freaking save slot 100 times because I suck at this game.
Yeah, but this is real. This is reality. On the internet, reality. Go figure. You know what I mean?
That's rare these days.
It's a little bit, yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Dude,
sometimes I swear they built in, like, okay, they have to sacrifice their mushroom size to get through this part.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, I'll say this too. Like, I've seen folks that I don't know if they're using Mario Maker or they're using, mods that people have made. But like, dude, some of the levels that I've seen people play, like live streaming, dude, it's insane. And you have to use like save suspends because there's like bloopas everywhere and shells, and you have to like throw the shell and bounce it off a wall and then jump off of that shell to get to the next platform, but then you can't stay on the platform because that platform's going to fall, and then there's more flames and things. You got to like thread the needle right through. It's insane. Like I would never be able. I can't even play the regular game.
I know, dude. Yeah, Mario Maker really took that crap to the next level.
Yeah, and but I will say this for some of so when you make a Mario Maker level, you have to beat it. You can't just make a level that is completely unbeatable. Once you beat it, then you can upload it, which is why a lot of people put in like secret backdoor kind of things where it's like, you land in the opening spot, but if you run backwards, you'll see that there's a little space, like a secret hiding space where you can jump on top of a thing, and then boom, there's an extra gate there that you can escape from. But then the rest of the level is just ridiculousness. So, yeah.
This is ridiculousness. Like, why is it appropriate for... This is where you gotta sacrifice. For Bowser to just have the little hatchet throwy things.
Yep.
My heart can't take this. I'm going to be honest. I may have a heart attack right here on an episode. And Drew, I want you to edit the episode and still put it out.
I will. It'll be a revelation for the internet, I guess. But I may have to censor it. I don't know how all that stuff works. And I don't want to know, to be perfectly honest.
So glad I created that.
Yeah, dude. And I know that we've said this before, like save scumming, a lot of people will hate on it and call it cheating. Yes, sure. It's not the right way to do it. It's not the original way to do it. You just have to suffer through and learn all the maps, and eventually it just becomes second nature. But in all reality, come on, man. Like, you just want to play the game,
One thing that we could do, and we'll leave it up to the audience for those of you still watching, we could, in theory, buy copies of Nintendo Power, although I will say they are pricey because I have looked into this before. But we could, we could buy copies of Nintendo Power and utilize that as like instead, and like kind of like, okay, guys, we're gonna sacrifice being allowed to use save spawns by using Nintendo Power. 100% we're doing that with like RPG games because we would be stumbling around some of these Zelda games for a million years and ain't nobody got time for that, including us.
Well, and I think that's one of the reasons why I never finished a lot of the early Zelda games, because I didn't have the maps. So I was just wandering around in the desert, and I mean, again, it's fun, it's enjoyable, but once you get to like the Ocarina of Time and beyond, it's easier to remember where stuff is because there is a map, you can see where you've been, where you're going, and they make it kind of easy where you talk to any NPC and they're like, hey, what are you still doing here? You need to go to, the Zoro domain, and you're like, oh, duh, I know.
Right.
And then, you'd forget exactly where it is, and then you'd stumble across it while trying to chase down, I don't know, something. Bokoblins, I guess.
They have a really cool I've never beat the original Zelda, which that's going to happen on this show.
Yeah.
They make a desk mat that is the entire map.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's really
which
cool.
I feel like that's actually a utilitarian thing that we could get a lot of use out of. I'm just done with those guys, dude. Like, I hate them.
Yeah,
they're one of my biggest nemesis in this game.
I will say, like the hammer throwy guys and the Lakitu, like the guy that's in the cloud throwing down the shells, like those are my two least liked. And I mean, even in other games, like the Lakitu that's throwing other stuff at you. Like, dude, it's terrible. Like, and yeah, you can jump up and like knock them off and then get on the cloud. Like, that's cool. And then you can zip through the end of the level. Like, that's great. It's fine.
Yeah.
But it's not always, it doesn't always work, man.
We're limping along with one life here, y'all.
Yeah. But again, that's the beauty of the save. You can always go back instead of going all the way back to the beginning. You can at least go back to where you last remembered to save.
Let's be honest, dude. If they possessed that technology in like 1986 or whatever, 84, they would have utilized it.
Yeah,
like
100%, dude. And it was storage. Like, there was no storage to save it, and I think it was. I'm going to misspeak here, but I think the Pokemon games were the first cartridges where you could save directly to the cartridge, because there's a battery in there that essentially keeps that powered so it can save your data.
It's crazy how long those batteries have lasted too, because I have a copy of Pokemon Red that's still for original Game Boy, which still the battery still works, or at least I assume it does because it saves. But you have to go in and like desolder it and stuff to like replace that battery. It's a freaking skill.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like, I've done some soldering, but it never looks great. And I know that like soldering isn't that hard of a skill. Like that kind of stuff. Like, welding is a skill that needs to be taught, and I also will never be able to. Well, I mean, maybe not never. I just I don't have time
Never
for that.
say never. I would say I feel like soldering is much like welding. It's like you can do it, but people who are truly good at it might judge your soldering.
True.
Like the look, because it's got an aesthetic to it.
Yeah, well, you got to have that like nice bead structure.
Right.
So I will say this, dude. I think once you land the end of this level, or the next time you die horribly, I think we need to wrap this baby up.
Well, you're in luck, and so are the folks at home, because I just beat it. That's it for this episode, folks. Let us know. Are you loving watching me stumble through the original OG Mario, the one that started it all?
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty more where this came from. We are playing all kinds of games, new and old. Do us a favor, if you like it, hit the subscribe button. It's the best way to support the channel.
Yeah, and tell us what game you want us to cover next. We may not beat it completely, but we will at least struggle as long as we possibly can, until we completely give up. And with all that being said, from all of us here at Nerd Leading the Nerd, come back soon.
'Cause we'll be waiting.